Fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers, in static, in echoes, in the empty pause between heartbeats. This Halloween 2025, the most haunting games on PS5 don't just make you jump, they make you think. They twist your memories, test your sanity, and remind you that the scariest place isn't the dark, it's your own mind. Some are brand new nightmares like Silent Hill F, while others return in terrifying form like Alan Wake 2 and Silent Hill 2 Remake. And if you're on PS Plus, a few of these horrors are free this month. Perfect timing to lose sleep. So dim the lights, take a deep breath, and prepare yourself. Because these are the top 10 psychological horror games for Halloween 2025, where every scream tells a story, and every story ends the same way, with you staring at your reflection, wondering when it started to stare back. Set in 1960s Japan, Silent Hill is horror reimagined through beauty, grief, and slow decay. The story follows a young girl trapped in a countryside village where reality has started to rot. Flowers bloom from bodies, crimson vines crawl along the streets, and the silence hums like something alive. You don't run from monsters here. You walk through guilt itself. Each step uncovers memories you've buried. Each whisper comes from something you once loved. The town grows with your fear, its roots stretching deeper the more you resist. Unlike traditional survival horror, this isn't about escape. It's about acceptance. Every decision you make feeds the fungus that mirrors your emotions, reshaping the environment into a grotesque garden of remorse. Built for PS5 and PS5 Pro with full HDR and 4K textures, Silent Hill is hauntingly beautiful and disturbingly human. Reviewers praise its tone and atmosphere, scoring 85 on Metacritic, calling it a poetic nightmare that blossoms from tragedy. Do you know what guilt smells like? The trailer asks. By the end you will, because in Silent Hill, the real horror isn't death, it's growth. The fear that flowers from within, spreading until every breath feels like confession. The petals are your memories, the roots are your regrets, and the town will never stop blooming. Once upon a time, a hero was told to kill a princess. No army, no monsters, just one woman locked in a basement, and a voice in your head that insists it's the right thing to do. Slay the Princess turns fairy tale into psychological warfare, questioning choice, morality, and identity. You're told the world will end if she lives, but as you talk to her, the certainty unravels. Her voice trembles between innocence and manipulation. Her smile hides timelines you can't comprehend. Every choice you make fractures the narrative, and with it, your sanity. You might kill her, save her, or become her. In some endings, you're both. This PS5 version runs at 4K 60 FPS, offering crisp hand-drawn visuals that contrast perfectly with the slow burn dread. Critics praise it for writing and atmosphere, giving it a 91 on Metacritic. A masterpiece in narrative horror, one review calls it, where the only weapon is conversation. Slay, or be slain. That's the warning, but the game never tells you who's holding the knife. Every line of dialogue is a mirror, showing you the parts of yourself you pretend aren't there. By the end, you'll stop asking if she's the monster, and start wondering why you ever thought you weren't. In Cronos, the new dawn, the apocalypse feels familiar. The skies are cracked, the ocean's drained, and yet it all seems like a memory. You play as a rescuer searching for survivors in an earth consumed by silence. The deeper you go, the more the world recognizes you, and that's the real terror. Each mission begins the same, but ends differently. Time folds. Environments change when you remember something painful. The game's psychological loop forces you to relive your worst decisions, each one creating ripples that distort the map. Sometimes you find people who claim they know you. Sometimes they're right. Built exclusively for PS5, Cronos uses ray-traced reflections and dual-sense pulse feedback to blur the line between heartbeat and vibration. Critics call it hauntingly grounded, scoring 84 on Metacritic for atmosphere and narrative depth. The story never tells you what's real. It asks you to decide how much truth you can survive. The world remembers, but you forgot. That line echoes every time you die. You can restart the level, but the world never resets with you. Because Cronos isn't about saving anyone. It's about remembering who you failed to save. And some memories don't forgive. The 2023 Dead Space remake is proof that fear can still evolve in perfect silence. You play as Isaac Clarke, an engineer investigating the derelict USG Ishimura, a mining vessel drifting through space like a tomb. The corridors hum, the lights flicker, and something behind the walls starts to breathe. This is survival horror stripped down to its rawest form. No safe rooms, no comfort, just isolation and dread. The remake rebuilds every inch of the original with cutting-edge detail. 4K HDR visuals, 60 FPS fluidity, and dual-sense triggers that grind under the weight of every plasma shot. Each sound, each flicker of light, feels alive and hungry. It's not just nostalgia, it's resurrection. Critics hailed it as a flawless modern horror remake, sitting at 89 on Metacritic for its technical brilliance and unrelenting tension. The ship's layout is now seamless, its systems interconnected, creating the illusion that the Ishimura itself is conscious. You can't extinguish hell. The line hits harder when you realize you're not fighting monsters. You're dismantling people who once screamed your name. The air is thin, your suit is heavy, and your fear has nowhere left to go. In Dead Space, the silence isn't relief, it's warning. There's no tutorial, no mission markers, no mercy. Visage begins with a gunshot and leaves you alone in a house that hates you. The walls hum, the light bulbs shatter, and every mirror shows something you don't remember doing. This is psychological horror in its purest form, patient, suffocating, and deeply personal. You explore the house, finding objects that unlock trauma instead of progress. The environment reacts to your fear level. Doors close faster when you panic. Footsteps grow louder when you hesitate. There's no escape. The only way forward is through your own dread. On PS5, Visage shines. 4K HDR visuals amplify every flicker, and dual-sense vibration syncs perfectly with your heartbeat when something's behind you. At 81 on Metacritic, critics call it the spiritual successor to PT, a slow, agonizing spiral into domestic madness. Reality is where fear begins. The house never lies, but it never tells the truth either. When you leave, you'll feel the walls following you, and you'll wonder if the creaks in your real house were always that loud. From Bloober Team, creators of Layers of Fear, comes Paranoid, a descent into obsession, addiction, and self-destruction. Set in 1980s Poland, you play as Patrick, a man isolated in his apartment after his brother's death. He blames the world, himself, but you'll start saying it too, because Paranoid doesn't just show insanity, it shares it. You don't fight monsters in Someday You'll Return. You walk into the woods to find one. Set deep within the forests of Moravia in the Czech Republic, the game follows Daniel, a father searching for his missing daughter, Stella. But what begins as a rescue turns into a reckoning. The forest doesn't just trap you, it judges you. You navigate dense trails and overgrown ruins while piecing together Daniel's past through letters, hallucinations, and old memories. Every step forward unearths more than clues. It unearths guilt. The forest whispers your daughter's name, but sometimes it whispers yours. Reality bends as you descend deeper, blurring between dream, memory, and punishment. You're never sure if the forest is haunted or if it's alive. Unlike most horror games, Someday You'll Return doesn't rely on blood or monsters. It's quiet, methodical, and deeply psychological. Your fear grows not from what you see, but what you remember. Even the crafting system feels intimate. Mixing herbs, brewing potions, using tools once meant to heal but now used to survive regret itself. The director's cut for PS5 enhances everything. Higher resolution textures, faster loading, and dual-sense haptics that make every heartbeat feel too real. Critics praised it for atmosphere and narrative, with an 82 on Metacritic. Some paths shouldn't be walked twice, Daniel mutters as branches close behind him. But that's the trap of Someday You'll Return. You can leave the forest. You just can't leave what it showed you. Because some things don't wait to be found. They wait to find you. Post-trauma takes you back to the claustrophobic dread of early 2000s horror. You play as Roman, a retired conductor who wakes inside a twisted subway system where reality folds like metal. The walls drip with rust, the lights hum like whispers, and something is following. Patient, unseen. The fixed camera perspective returns, but with modern cinematic precision. Each frame feels like a photograph of regret.
Can I leave?
You can't control what you see, only how you react. Every corridor leads to a memory you didn't know you had, and every puzzle feels like therapy gone wrong. The PS5 version runs at 4K 60 FPS with immersive DualSense audio. IGN calls it a love letter to classic Silent Hill, rebuilt for the modern age. Critics praise its deliberate pacing, tension, and melancholy design. Horror with soul. He's not supposed to be here. The voice echoes through every tunnel, and you realize it's not talking about Roman. It's talking about you. Because post-trauma isn't about monsters in the dark. It's about being trapped in a world that already moved on without you. Reality and fiction collide in Alan Wake 2, a masterpiece of psychological storytelling and surreal horror. You play as two protagonists, Alan, the writer trapped in his own nightmare, and Saga Anderson, the FBI agent trying to solve it. Every clue Saga uncovers shapes Alan's world, and every word Alan writes reshapes hers. This isn't survival horror, it's narrative recursion. You don't escape the story, you rewrite it. Light becomes logic, darkness becomes chaos, and both feed each other until neither feels safe. Running at 4K 60 FPS with full ray tracing and DualSense haptics, it's also one of the most technically impressive games on PS5. Critics praise its ambition, sitting at 89 on Metacritic for atmosphere and innovation. And best of all, it's free all October 2025 for PS Plus Essential subscribers. The perfect Halloween gift for anyone brave enough to face the dark place. You don't fix horror, you live it. Alan tries to write his escape, but every page makes the nightmare stronger. By the time the credits roll, you'll stop asking if he's real and start wondering if you are. Some games never die. They just wait for us to return. Silent Hill 2 Remake brings back James Sunderland, a man drawn to the fog by a letter from his dead wife. He's not looking for answers. He's looking for punishment. Every monster is a metaphor. Every street corner whispers grief. The fog hides what you don't want to admit, that you came here to suffer. The remake's visuals are stunning. Rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5 with real-time lighting and 4K HDR textures. On PS5, it runs in 60 FPS performance mode with full DualSense feedback for each trembling breath. It joins the PS Plus Extra catalog on October 21st, just in time for Halloween, earning a 90 on Metacritic for staying faithful while deepening the emotional core. Critics call it the definitive modern psychological horror experience. When the fog clears, what remains is fear. But that's not quite true. When it clears, what remains is you, and all the things you came here to bury.
Don't think she's here anymore.
You crash on a nameless planet, alone, injured, and surrounded by echoes of your own voice. In Returnal, death isn't failure, it's routine. You play as Celine, an astronaut trapped in an alien world that rewrites itself every time she dies. The terrain shifts, enemies mutate, and her memories bleed into the soil. Every loop reveals a little more truth, and takes a little more of her mind. This isn't just sci-fi, it's psychological purgatory. Celine's recordings scatter across the ruins, fragments of her voice begging herself to stop. But she can't. She's compelled to keep moving, keep fighting, keep dying. Because somewhere in this shifting hell, there's a house that shouldn't exist. Inside, she finds family photos, familiar furniture, and the ghost of a life she might have lived. It's haunting, surreal, and deeply human. Running at 4K 60 FPS with ray-traced lighting, adaptive triggers, and DualSense haptics that mimic rainfall, Returnal remains one of the most technically impressive and emotionally devastating games on PS5. It holds an 86 on Metacritic, earning universal praise for its atmosphere, combat, and psychological depth. It's as much about grief as it is about survival, a dance between control and chaos that never truly ends. Helios is gone. I can't escape. Celine whispers it after every death. But Returnal isn't about escaping the planet. It's about escaping yourself. And that's a fight no one ever wins. These 10 games don't just scare you, they study you. They measure how long you hesitate, how often you look away, and what you choose to forget. From the crimson petals of Silent Hill to the endless loops of Returnal, each one forces you to face something deeper than monsters. Yourself. This Halloween, 2025, fear isn't just entertainment, it's reflection. It's the part of you that refuses to stay buried. So tell us, which nightmare will you step into first? Comment your pick below and subscribe to PS5 Gameplay Hub for more cinematic recaps, next-gen gameplay showcases, and PS Plus updates that make the dark worth exploring. Because here, fear doesn't end when the credits roll. It lingers, in sound, in memory, in every reflection that blinks a second too late.
See?